Hello bikers, I'm Patrick from PS BikeBook. I will take you through my guide for removal, change, balancing and reinstallation of the front wheel on my BMW F800GS. The wheel I just got delivered to my house is a Mitas E09 and it's a rough off-road tire. Oh, a tip, check for free passengers before you change the tire. First thing you want to do is loosen the ABS sensor front. I also loosen the fork protection to get access to the cord. Always keeps all the parts you loosen at the same place. For this I use a small box and use duct tape to keep the objects together. After this, keep loosening the ABS sensor cord. Secure it, then start work on loosening the two torques holding left brakes at place. Again I put all parts in a box. After the brakes are free, before you pull them off the brake disc, you need to widen the gap between the two brake pads. This is done by moving it sideways, forth and back like the image illustrates. Also, it's very important you never manipulate the brake handle after you're taking the brake off the disc. This as you risk push the brake pads together. When you're done on the left side, move to the right. Repeat the procedure to widen the gap between the pads. When the pads are free, it's time to loosen the pinch bolts. The manual tells you to start on the right side and this is how I do. If you have a problem though with remove the axle nut due to spinning axle, you can leave the right side tight, loosening the left pinch bolts and axle nut before you go back to the right. After this I loosen the axle nut. I don't take it full away as I want to use it to push the axle through. I also loosen the left side pinch bolts. For removal of the axle I use the special tool, mainly as it's hard to get a grip on a well greased axle. Some spark plugs have the same dimension on its backside and can be used the same purpose. Just spin the axle, pull it out and remember to support the wheel. Also, remove the spacer on the left side. Then, as you have the wheel off, always check the bearings, they should move easy and frictionless. To minimize the risk of damaging the brake disc or rim, I use two boards and a blanket. Place it in a V formation, this gives good support for the wheel and also let the disc fly free. Let the air out. For this I use a wall core tool. I also take the bolt of the wall stem with the box wrench. To not misplace the wall core, I use a small piece of duct tape. There are many ways to break the rim. If you're on the side of the road it might be a bit of a challenge for the back tire, but your bike's side stand can be used. For the front, a big biker and a boot is often enough. As I'm in my garage, I use my special tool though, no reason to make things harder than they are. Then it's time to lubricate. I use WD-40 as a penetrant. When taking the tire off I use two rim protectors for the first part, mostly as its string lets you free one hand up. It also where you're in the biggest risk of put a scratch on the rim. Still, don't be too worried about the rims, it's an adventure bike after all. This part can be a bit annoying and some motivation is always good. There we go. Then it's time to work out the tube. Start with push the wall stem through and make sure to catch a small spacer on the inside. This is how it looks. Save the spacer if you want to reuse the tube, then work the tube out. I usually reuse my tubes one time. Then take the tire full off the rim. Before you start to mount a new tire, you need to find its rotation. It's marked on the side. When you know the rotation, lubricate and push the rim in place so the rotation gets correct. Then work the tire on the rim. Done with this, work in the tube again and don't forget the small spacer on the inside when pushing the wall stem in. There's a special tool to pull the wall stem through the hole in the rim, but I find it harder to use the tool than actually do it by hand. When the wall stem is through the hole, put back the bolt to secure it so it not slip through the hole again. Then give the tube a few puffs of air. This will help you not pinch the tube in the final part of working the tire on the rim. I usually by now also put the wall core back. Before the final part, again lubricate. Then use the rim protection for the first section. I work my way from the wall and use the string on the rim protection to free one hand. Then I use my body weight and knees to lock the tire while I work it on the rim. Yeah, as you see, remember that the lubricated tire is kinda slippery. The final part is the most critical and can need a little bit of practice. The important part is that you make sure not to pinch the tube. Best is just not to stress it. When the tire is on, before you do anything more, pump it up. You don't want to balance and reinstall the wheel just to notice that you pinched the tube and need to do it all again. For the same reason, take one extra look that you got the rotation right. Thank you for watching part 1. Now if you want, subscribe to my channel. For balancing and reinstallation, see part 2 of this video.